Hi everyone, I'm Hallie Warner, Chief of Staff at Hergenrother Companies and co-author of the book that Adam and I wrote together called The Founder and the Force Multiplier, How Entrepreneurs and Executive Assistants Achieve More Together. And I wanted to share a couple of quick tips with you for how you can ask for training. So one of the first things that I do, in addition to my weekly meetings, quarterly meetings with Adam, I also, every year, during our annual review, I started in October, so every October, it's actually coming right up, I do a compensation review and kind of an annual review with Adam. Now, we give each other feedback much more frequently than that, but I do like to kind of stick to that one annual as well, where I go really in depth into my goals for the next year. And compensation is always a part of that conversation. So one of the things that I include, and I have included for the past 9 years, is what do I want to learn, what skills do I want to achieve, what additional contribution do I want to make to the organization, and in order to do that, what training do I need to attend? So for me, it's learning and classes and education is so important that I like to include that as part of my overall compensation package. So I will outline very specifically what trainings I'm requesting to go to, including any additional details like travel, what the benefit is to the company, what the benefit will be to me and to Adam specifically. And that's just kind of included every year. So that's one way that you can ask for training. When I have those conversations, I always like to have kind of in the back of my mind, what am I willing to commit to personally in the event that all of that training might not be paid for. Maybe it's something that we want to push off to the next year. Because learning and education is so important to me, I'm willing to, throw in a plane ticket or a registration fee if he covers half or 3/4 of that training event. And while that's usually not the case, and while oftentimes when I make the ask, the training is approved, it's always good to kind of know, what are you willing to commit to? How much skin are you willing to have in the game when you're going into these conversations? Because I do think it shows your commitment to your own career development and your career growth and to your own education, because whatever you learn in those trainings will take you far beyond just your current organization. Also, sometimes think outside of the box. So yes, there's a really amazing tactical training skills, leadership training, communication. I always say focus on the leadership and communication skills if you're going to go to any sort of training, especially in the executive assistant, chief of staff, and a force multiplier role. But sometimes think outside of the box. So where I'm at in my career, I'm taking a couple of chief of staff trainings. I'm taking some recruiting and hiring training. I'm always taking leadership training. But I also need to focus on my personal health and fitness. So actually, it was just 2 weeks ago, Adam and I had a conversation, and he's now paying for a running coach for me. I'll be doing my first marathon in April, the same month I turned 35, which I'm really scared and really excited about. And so we had a conversation, and I asked if he would be willing to pay for a running coach. So while it's not your traditional training, it's something that I know is going to make me a better person and a better leader. And self-leadership comes before leadership. You have to be able to lead yourself first before you can lead anyone else. And Adam is a really big believer in that. So it was kind of a natural thing for him to say yes to right away, was a run coach. So that actually starts next week. If anyone's done a marathon, I would love some tips and tricks for that. And then when you go into your trainings, this is something that I always go into before I attend anything, is what do I actually want to take away from this training? And I make sure that I'm listening for that information. And you know what? If the speakers or presenters are not giving me the information I need, you've got to ask questions. You've got to network. Some of the best parts of going to training are the conversations after hours, early morning coffees, grabbing lunch with somebody else. It's who you surround yourself with when you're at that. So you have to maximize every moment when you're at a training event. And then when you're there, you've got to make sure you're listening so that you can then take that information and share it and teach it to somebody else. The best way to learn is to teach. So pick 1 or 2 things from your training to go back to your office and share with an admin group. Teach to another EA. Share with your leader. Share with your leadership team. Do a webinar on something that you learned. It's going to ingrain it in your mind that much more, and also it's all about paying it forward. So if you're learning something, share it with somebody else. And I always will take one thing that I learned, because let's be honest, when you go to trainings, you learn so much stuff, and you've got pages and pages and pages of notes. Knowledge is great, but if you don't take any action, it's really meaningless. So review your notes. Usually I like to do that when I'm on the plane on the way back. I'll review my notes and I will pick one thing that I plan on implementing that week. Just one. I can implement other things later down the line, but just pick one thing that you're going to implement from that training and make sure it's really, really high impact so that it can show the value to your leadership team, to your executive, of the value of you going to a training event. And then that next ask is going to be that much easier. So bottom line, ask for training. If you need more tips and tricks, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me online, Facebook, Instagram. My email is hallie@adamhergenrother.com. And I'm really excited to hear about all the trainings that you guys have coming up in 2020. Have a great day.